Here we have a case for you. Start with the question, then read the entire question before going back to the very beginning. You can pause it, read through it on your own, and come back. All right, we're back. Here's the question. The hospital has 1 liter premixed bags of D5NS plus 20 milliequivalents of potassium chloride. CJ's fluid has been running at 80 milliliters per hour for 8 hours. How many millimoles of KCL has the patient received? It gives us molecular weight and says around to the nearest tenth. Note that molecular weight may not be given on the test, so those would be good items to memorize. The question asks about KCL and KCL only, so ignore D5W and NS. There is 1 liter of this fluid right here. We are only going to pay attention to this portion. So this is what we are given: 20 milliequivalents of potassium chloride, 1 liter. We're asked to find millimoles of potassium chloride. Now there are several ways to convert between these different units. We could use the milliequivalence equation, osmolarity equation, or convert between molecular weight and moles, or a mass. In any of these equations, where there is a V that stands for valence, P stands for particles. So valence is associated with milliequivalence. I think of charge, and one way to help you remember is that the equivalence sort of looks like milligrams. And I remember that the way I write my Q also looks like a V. So that's how I pair up the valence and milliequivalence. But look at this. We're going to first find milligrams. Sometimes we might have to convert then to grams and then put it into another equation. Oh, it could take a long time. Is there an easier and faster way? Yes, there is. We can make our own equivalence charts, converting from millimoles to milliequivalents to milliosmoles. 1 millimole of the molecule is equal to the number of valence for that molecule in milliequivalents, which is equal to the number of particles in milliosmoles of that molecule. Here's an example. Here's KCL. 1 millimole of KCL is equal to the valence number of milliequivalents of KCL. The valence of KCL is 1, so I plug in a 1 there. Milliosmoles of KCL is 2. There's 2 particles, so I plug 2 in there. If I were to go to calcium chloride, 1 millimole of calcium chloride is equal to valence of 2, milliequivalents of calcium chloride, and 3 particles of calcium chloride, so that's 3 milliosmoles of calcium chloride. We would like to convert from one unit to another. You may like to set up a proportion. Put what is on the equivalence chart on one side of the equal sign and what you have in reality on the other side of the equal sign. So we will be setting up a proportion like this. If you remember, we were given 20 milliequivalents of potassium chloride per liter, and we will find the millimoles of potassium chloride. So this is what we would consider reality, and I'm putting that on one side of the equal sign, and this 1 millimole potassium chloride and 1 milliequivalent on the other side of the equal sign. So I will cross multiply and divide and find that 20 milliequivalents potassium chloride is actually equal to 20 millimoles of potassium chloride. Remember that all of this was talking about 1 liter. The question asked for millimoles, not millimole per liter, so we are not finished. The reason why we're not finished is because of that liters. Don't forget to find the volume of fluid CJ received over 8 hours. I'm taking that 20 millimoles per liter. I plug it in there, and I want my millimoles on top because that's the units that I want the answer to come out in. I can cross out my liters. We know that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 mLs, and 80 mLs per hour is what we get from the question, times 8 hours from the question. We can cross out all our units and we'll be left with millimoles. There we have our millimoles. This should be the correct answer, 12.8 millimoles potassium chloride. Another way we can do it without using the proportions would be dimensional analysis. So we start out with what we had in the equivalency chart. We know that 1 millimole potassium chloride is equal to the valence number of milliequivalents potassium chloride times 20 milliequivalents potassium chloride, which is what was given in the question, over 1 liter. Convert that to milliliters, milliliters per hour for 8 hours. We can cross out our units. After we do, we get the same answer. Congratulations! You got